most important relationship that you will ever have is the relationship with yourself. Knowing yourself is how you free yourself. What you seek is to be your true self. So my goal in this video is to help you discover this relationship between you and you, because the world is only reflecting how true you are to it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ivan, and in this video, we're going to talk about how to discover your true self. Firstly, I want to thank you for clicking on this video. In this channel, we talk about all things personal development, where you learn to master your internal world by becoming more self-aware, living consciously, and discovering your true self. Now, I want to start this video by sharing a personal story of mine. Back in 2020, I thought I was living a great life. I had recently graduated from film school, and at the time I was working at a TV and commercial editing studio. But this was right when COVID was about to happen. So very quickly, I was forced to leave my job. Everything began to shut down, and I was forced to leave everything. All of a sudden, within a couple of days, I had no job. I had to move in back with my parents, and I was very uncertain of what the future was going to be. As time went on, I thought this situation would get better, but as we know, it just got worse. I remember being very impatient, angry, fearful, and depressed. I started to notice that all of my happiness, fulfillment, and motivation was dependent on the outside world, doing and achieving. When the severity of what was actually happening hit me, I completely lost it. I had a full-blown panic attack. Now, I'd been dealing with anxiety for many years, and so this panic attack was nothing new to me, but this one was different. I felt so powerless. I had no control. I couldn't accept what was actually happening in the world. And so I started to imagine the worst. I became trapped by my thoughts, my feelings, and my ideas. But it was in that moment when I had my first spiritual awakening. I was in so much pain and suffering that it propelled me to see beyond my thoughts, feelings, and emotions for the very first time. Now, in that experience, I remember becoming very present to the moment. I started to see this space between of who we think ourselves to be and who we really are. I became the observer of the person and realized that I was suffering my thoughts and my ideas of the past and in the future. Now, the whole point of this story is to help illustrate how we all try to build this persona, this character that we believe ourselves to be, but it's not really who we are. Because you see, the observer of your life is your true self. It's always there with you. The person or the body is your false self, and it only exists with thoughts. For many of us, we just believe ourselves to be this body, how we look, sound, and behave. But our body is nothing more than just a physical form expression of our energy, a personality, a mask that we adopt to conform in society. This false self is the identity that we believe ourselves to be in our day-to-day lives, and its foundation is how we think, feel, and act. It's a conditioning based on our past experiences. So in order for you to discover your true self, you have to overcome the person, which is your ego, the unconscious mind. The key is to know that you are always the observer. The conundrum is when we identify with what we see, feel, and experience via the body. We become the experience of the person, reacting to our internal world based on our five senses, instead of remaining as the observer of our experience and responding to our thoughts, feelings, and emotions without judgment or attachment. Now, ego is the reason why we identify with our bodies in the first place, because without it, you couldn't build your identity. The dilemma being that ego is just a thought. It's the unconscious mind. Once believed in, we become our thoughts. So when you have a thought such as I am flawed, the ego identifies with it and builds your identity around it. So you may be presented with life situations where you constantly avoid anything that would prove this belief to be right. This could be anything dealing with rejection or failure. To put it differently, ego is a catalyst to make you conscious when you are not. It's a side effect of consciousness so that you can take your seat back in consciousness and start to exercise your free will of choosing your thoughts rather than being a victim to them. In other words, it's trying to wake you up by suffering. Your true self is the deeper, more genuine aspect of you. It is always there, available to you. But you have to lose all identification with the ego to see this. The truth is, there is one of you split into two, you the body and you the observer. The body is thinking, analyzing, doing, focused on the outer world through the five senses. It functions with the right side hemisphere of the brain. The observer is feeling, sensing, being. Focus on the inner world, choosing your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, which create your state of being, and functions on the left side hemisphere of your brain. Your true self is who you are. It is the controller, the chooser, the perceiver, the experiencer. It is the energy that creates. Your body, or ego, is just a vehicle for your true self to express that energy. But this is something that you have to allow, surrender. Once you identify with your thoughts, ego runs your life. It operates from fear, scarcity, and a need to control outcomes. Studies have actually shown that chronic stress impacts your immune system. Managing your stress is managing your ego. Now, in the short term, it may seem that it's a good idea to identify with your ego because it protects you and it keeps you in the familiar. But in the long term, it's going to make you suffer because what you really seek most in life is to be fearless. This is where true freedom, true peace, true happiness lies. Everything you seek is inside of you, not outside of you. Ego lives in the three-dimensional world, working with time and space, living in the past and in the future, but never in the present moment, because it's only a thought of who I think that I am. The only thing real and that exists is the present, and that is you. That is where your true self lives. So this relationship between you and you is what provides the contrast to expand into a more broader perspective part of ourselves, so that you can choose how you live your human experience. The problem is many of us don't choose ourselves. We view it as an act of selfishness instead of selflessness. But what if I told you that by being selfish, carrying how you feel, is the best gift that you can give others? Because by being true to you is the only way that you can help others. So do me a favor and stop hiding yourself, protecting yourself. Start choosing yourself. Ego is that defense mechanism that we use to protect ourselves from being who we really are, our true authentic self. Being without conditions, embracing our vulnerabilities, mistakes, and imperfections. It's about loving ourselves, choosing ourselves, not hating ourselves. We wear this mask to appear perfect, but the human is not designed to be perfect. Self-love and acceptance is the key that is going to unlock the door to your true self. Well, why is this? Because lack of love is the reason why we've been rejecting ourselves based on unconscious beliefs that we have been accepting as true. Beliefs make your reality. So if you've been holding on to beliefs such as, I'm not capable of doing this, reality has to reflect it back to you to prove you right. But it's not about being right. It's about choosing yourself. There is no inherent truth out there. It's what you choose it to be. You are the creator of your life. So get to know the beliefs that are holding you back from being your true self. Now, some of you may be thinking, I can't be my true self. I'll be exposed. I'll get hurt. But I want you to think about one situation in your past where you did get hurt, where you did suffer. You thought it was the end of the world, whether it was a breakup, a failure, an injury, or just an uncomfortable situation. But there was something inside of you that was unaffected, detached, unbothered, just observing everything. It was still complete and whole. It knew it wasn't the person, it was the energy of the person. You were able to overcome it. You never actually got hurt or suffered, the person did. Your true self, which is the observer, was giving you lessons to overcome your ego, to make you conscious. And start choosing yourself, being who you want to be in this world that is simply just a mirror reflecting back to you. Now, before I conclude this video, I want to share with you some practical ways on how you can become more in tune with your true self, because it is going to be a process, a journey, a life journey, may I say. Now, the best way is to be present. This is where your true self lives. Devoid yourself of any thoughts, either from the past or the future. Do not identify with anything that you are seeing or experiencing via the body. Be the perceiver of your perception, the feeler of your sensations. Realize the present moment is the only thing that is real, is the only thing you ever experience. Now, this other practice is something known as self-inquiry, and it's actually something I picked up from a book that I read called Who Am I by Ramana Maharshi, who is a famous Indian sage who through his teaching, it guides us to transcend the limitations of our mind, the ego, and start to discover our true nature, our true self. Now, the process of self-inquiry goes something like this. Get into a meditative state. Close your eyes to remove any stimulus from your senses. Now, you want to ask the fundamental question to yourself, either in your head or out loud, who am I? Don't try to answer it. Your true self is pure observation. Simply observe what comes up. Become the observer of yourself, of your words. Who is responding? You may hear something like, I am my name, or me. But remain as the observer. Realize that these are just thoughts from the unconscious mind. It is that voice in your head that is always contradicting you. It's the thing that holds you back from being your true self. So the main purpose of this practice is to question our thoughts so that we can find the root source of them. If you look deeply and clearly, you will witness that the source is you. You are the chooser of your thoughts, but when you don't, they choose you. The key is to simply observe. Do these thoughts illustrate who I really am? My beliefs? There is no answer that the unconscious mind can give you because it's just another thought. You are the only source. The observed is the observer. And so I'll leave you with this, guys. The hardest part of being a person is not being the person. It's realizing you're never the person. You're having an experience as a person. Realize this and become free of the mind. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Do hope that this video is going to help you out. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate that. And I will see you, as always, in the next video.